think they're okay because this way I get everybody.
Your food will be up in a minute.
Oh, what's fine? Can I get the eggs in there?
30.
Okay, I will be back 30 minutes.
Okay, great. Are we running?
Yeah.
Are we
You're
live?
ready to go whenever you start.
Okay. Well, I have a quarter of, so we're going to get started. We have a lot of material to cover. First of all, I want to welcome you all to MIC conferences. Is everyone familiar with our menu and our recipe, what we're here for? Or should I go through that very briefly? The challenge was, 30 days ago, the conferences didn't exist. We had to create an application from scratch based upon a spec we were given. And that spec says, basically, write all the software a group of groups like Collaborate would require to run a conference, okay? And we got into our kitchens and we started to cook. And we came up with a great solution, we think, for how any number of groups can get together and run a conference with overlapping sessions and various things. So you're going to see, hopefully be dazzled, by all the things we've come up with that will let you, if you purchased our software, run your conference. So first of all, what are we going to do today? Our appetizer, we're going to give you an overview of our proposed functionality. Then, part of our recipe exchange, we're going to give you all the technical background you would need to understand how we would build this thing. Finally, we're going to have wine tasting and dessert, where we'll show you a proof of concept app that actually works, as well as answer your questions. So our philosophy was to leverage the power of the Oracle database by integrating with popular, low-cost social networking technologies to deliver a feature-rich and intuitive user experience, unlike any that you've ever had before. We have many, many areas in our restaurant. We have, of course, the kitchen where the food is cooked, but we have all different other things behind the scenes going into making this a successful place for you to enjoy the conference software. In our kitchen is the administrative functionality. A lot of work goes into setting up a conference. Everything from defining time slots, venue, locations, everything else about the conference. There's also a real-time aspect to it. We want to monitor who's coming, what's popular, what's working, what's not working, where people are, and so forth, so that we can run the conference as well as possible. All of this happens in the kitchen. And the kitchen, in our case, is a Application Express application with connectivity to social networking through RSS, CSV, web services, all of those types of things. We have powerful real-time analytics from the Oracle Business Intelligence Suite, which we use to see in real time and to analyze past conferences what is going right and wrong. All the functionality you would need to run a complex conference is available in our database model. We can certainly have overlapping time slots. We can keep track of attendees from conference to conference. We can switch a session from one room to another, of course, but we can also switch it from Quest to IOUG. Let's say IOUG doesn't have room for a particular speaker. We can offer that speaker up to Quest. Our service area is where the presenters go to upload their documentation, request that they be approved for speaking. It's where they receive feedback from the reviewers, feedback from the conference committee, where they upload their papers and essentially communicate with the team. Again, that's done through Application Express, which has all the ability for them to upload their pictures and their documents and so forth. And this is actually working in the proof of concept app. In quality control, that's the reviewing function. We have a good quality conference, not because every single paper we were asked to have presenters present was great, but because things were reviewed, and the conference committee did a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure we had the very best presenters. Their work can be done through our quality control division. One of the simpler things is have a star thing, very much like Amazon or Google type of a thing, to be able to rate your presentations, as well as written comments. Our hostess function is used to handle all the other nuts and bolts of attending a conference. The actual collection of registration fees, knowing who's coming to the conference, getting their payment via PayPal or check or a bank card and so forth, offering discounts, complimentary types of registrations and so forth, whatever might be needed to ensure that the conference is run smoothly and equitably for everyone attending. We'll even integrate through our RSS and web services with the hotel and restaurant reservation systems in the area so that people are being offered the best possible choices for their comfort while they're here. Our menu, of course, is something that you're all familiar with. How do the attendees choose what they're going to attend at the conference? And in addition to a web-type interface where you might select your conference sessions in the normal way, we're also offering a menu that is based upon the Business Intelligence Suite, recommending, based on your profile, your previous attendance, what people like you liked, and so forth, what you should go see. And we have a scheduler through Google Calendars, which enables you through very simple color coding to actually restrict the list to those sessions that might be of interest to you and exclude those that you have no interest in. This actually is an example of just the IOUG sessions yesterday from 10 to 11 a.m. That's just IOUG. So imagine if you have multiple groups involved, how useful and powerful the ability to color code and turn these things on and off with a click of the mouse would be. Also, to make this practical, so that you're not paying us millions of dollars to produce all of the software, we leverage the existing software in Google Calendars, which does an excellent job of this particular functionality. Again, our server, her primary job besides taking your order is to ensure that you're going to get the most value out of the conference by suggesting the proper seminars that you might enjoy. She's equipped with real-time analytics to help do that. And how do we communicate with you? We can do that through XML to phones and other iPads and various other things that would run our special application for the conference. In the dining room is where the attendee services are actually delivered at the conference. We provide all sorts of real-time updates. We are looking at ways of accumulating information about who attended a conference by virtue of the fact that most of you are wearing a cell phone that has Wi-Fi and or cellular capabilities, but also has GPS. And we're even investigating the ability to use Bluetooth in our next revision to be able to tell everyone within 30 feet and allow them to instantly give a thumbs up or thumbs down to the presentation. On your devices, we're going to deliver you a walking route map. And some of you might say, well, how are you going to do that? There's not that great a detail available about the locations of every room in the conference center. Well, that doesn't mean there couldn't be. This is a device that's typically used by surveyors. It's called millimeter GPS. It can locate the coordinates of a particular room, say the door to this room, within 1 millimeter, okay? So why couldn't we have a GPS-enabled map for our application? Attendee services. You've already seen we have connections to Twitter, to Facebook, and so forth. These things can be leveraged very easily with our design because we communicate well with the outside world. Reviews. It's very difficult to get people to accurately review applications. They have to fill out a paper form. A lot of times they forget, or they never had the form to begin with, or they put down the wrong number, and so forth. Why not use like the Foursquare type technology to understand who's nearby and give them a question at the end of the presentation. Did you like it or didn't you? And they have to answer that yes or no to get out. Facebook, of course we're going to integrate with Facebook. That's become a standard. People take for granted Facebook integration. So the likes on Facebook could easily be implemented by us exporting a list of all these sessions that are available. We have a bar, of course, at the mid-conference restaurant, and the bar is for the social aspect of what we do. We're not just sitting in conferences all day. We meet afterwards. We have a drink with a friend. We go to the local entertainment venues. So why not be able to meet up with people who are like-minded and use the social networking, Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare, and other things that are available to be able to do that. Here are some examples of some things that we've already set up for this demonstration, which are actually live Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, and so forth that tie into our conference application. So this is what it looks like in a diagrammatic form. We have the Oracle database powering the whole system, interface to the committee via Application Express, interface to the social networking via XML, web services, REST, RSS, Atom, all of the various standards that they might require in order to get data in and out. And of course, in addition to the database itself, which would retain that information, we have that power from Oracle to analyze and crunch the numbers to figure out those tough answers like what's the best session to go to next. So our recipe for success basically gives us the power to handle any conference through the 11G database, lower development costs because Apex is, as you know, a rapid application, very inexpensive development tool. In just the few hours we had to prepare for this, we've actually created a proof of concept app. We have unparalleled intelligence through OBIE. No one does it better than that. We're using standards-based, which helps us leverage existing technology rather than writing it from scratch. Everything's easily accessible and ready to go. This is the actual entity relationship diagram for our system. We have all the tables defined, though not all the fields in all the tables. That would take a little more work, but you're going to see a representation of what the system might actually look like in our working proof of concept app. One of the key things I want to point out here is that this would be expensive to build. It requires a database, data mining, all those sorts of things. If we could only sell it to one client at a time, it would have to be fairly expensive. But we have this overarching concept of a structure. And the structure enables us to not only handle the Collaborate conference, for instance, but we can handle the AMA conference next month and the Publishers Conference the month after that, all running on the same logic, on the same server, in the same database, totally isolated from one another, totally secure from one another, but leveraging the software and hardware, which of course we would deploy in the cloud, so that no one has to invest in hardware just to run their conference. Our proof of concept app exists. This is what the home page looks like. At the end of the session, we'll give you the URL and password.
You can run it from your smartphone right now if you want.
Right, it's running on his phone, it's running on my iPhone. We would be able to see each other's updates immediately. This is an example of a form. This happened to be my session this afternoon. It's actually entered into the proof of concept app. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my fellow chefs to explain their areas of expertise.
So one of the key features of our application is ability to recommend the right sessions for you. If you come, let's say this is your first conference and you're not very sure which sessions to attend, you go to a few wrong sessions, you may say, okay, I didn't quite get the value out of the conference. So it's very important to be able to help attendees with sessions that are likely to match their profile, that are likely to match their previous session attendances.